Now, more than 1,000 people have taken to the streets as Pretorius applies for bail. He is accused of viciously assaulting a local teenager in Grievousdal. The investigating officer says bail should not be granted as Pretorius's safety is in question. The officer has warned that should they grant him bail, the community will not take that well. Heidi Giokos is tracking that story for us, and she joins us now live. Heidi, tell us specifically about this that the investigating officer has said in terms of the possible release of Mr. Pretorius. He's saying that he will not be safe.
Yes, exactly that, Masako. And the reason for this is because of the thousands of people that have gathered outside Grievousdal Magistrates Court. What we do know is that political parties have also come to rally and show support for the 16-year-old minor that was allegedly attacked by Pretorius. Let's perhaps just ask my colleague Tami to perhaps walk over this way. As you can see, political parties have gathered. As you can see, the EFF is here outside the Magistrates Court. And just on the other side, it's very difficult to get through, Masako, but just on the other side, we do know that ANC members have also gathered here outside the courts. What we do know is that the state is opposing bail for a number of reasons. The first reason being the fact that the safety of Pretorius is in question because already his wife has allegedly opened up a case of intimidation because of what's happened and because of the arrest of her husband. What we further understand is the fact that the community will not take well to bail being granted. This is according to the investigating officer of Pretorius. We do know that he is asking for bail. He says he will not be a threat to any community or to the accused, and that he is not well. He's suffering from depression and epilepsy, and therefore he feels as though he needs to be granted bail. However, the investigating officer is saying that already there's a complete shutdown of Grievousdal town, and this could further be exacerbated should he be granted bail.
And Heidi, he wants to go on bail, as you said there, talking about his health and that he doesn't feel safe in those prisons. How was he when you looked at him in the dock?
Masako, he did look very scared, I must say. He kept looking down. He didn't necessarily look at the people in the courtroom. It's a very small courtroom, very packed. We do know that the accused mother is sitting in the gallery listening to court proceedings. But what we do know is that he also has a hearing problem, it seems, according to his defense team. So he didn't necessarily always hear what was being said or asked. But he kept looking down and he also kept not really understanding what the court was asking him or telling him. Maybe it is because of this hearing problem that his legal team alleges. But what we do know is that court will commence in a few minutes, and the investigating officer is still under oath, and he will be further questioned with regards to why the state is opposing a bail. And what we do know also is that the investigating officer is saying that the circumstances around this case is very worrying. So they are not very keen on bail being granted to Pretorius.
And Heidi, just very quickly, I know I have to let you go because the tea break is almost over. We have to also remember that the crime that he's accused of and he was filmed of actually doing is quite vicious on a 16-year-old who was just asking for salt. So there's also this 16-year-old and his family that obviously also wants justice served.
Yes, certainly. So very important to highlight what Pretorius is facing. He is facing a charge of assault and intent to do grievous bodily harm. Also pointing a firearm to the accused. That firearm has since been confiscated because of the nature of this particular offence and crime. So what we do know is that he's facing a charge of assault and intent to do body grievously harm. And what we do also know is the fact that the accused's mother has indicated that the 16-year-old suffers from asthma. So the fact that he was trampled on and was kicked, his body was kicked, and also his chest was kicked, speaks volumes to the severity of this particular matter. Masako, I'm going to ask that we end this live because we are being asked to move for some reason, despite the fact that this is a court case and political parties have decided to show support. So it's back to you in studio.
All right, Heidi, I do have to let you go anyway because I assume that tea break is going to end at around 11:15. That was Heidi Giokos outside the Groblersdal Magistrates Court. Of course, eNCA has been covering that court case live for you here and there. And of course, when there are very important developments, we'll bring you up to speed.